Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the darkest dungeon. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this one's been making the rounds. This is Darkest Dungeons by Red Hook Studios. This is a very interesting, indie-developed roguelite, if you will, or roguelike, depending upon your point of view, turn-based RPG. So for those of you not familiar with rogue or the term roguelite, which I must confess is a fairly new term to me, it pretty much is a series of games in which events are randomized. Dungeons, items, basically nothing is predetermined. You know, it's not a preset RPG, but that's what makes this interesting. So you may have seen games. The one I'm most familiar with would be like Binding of Isaac. That's a big roguelite or roguelike game. That one's more action based though, and that's one I'm most familiar with, and probably the one that actually got me into the term. And I've never been great at them, but this one, instead of being action, is again, turn-based RPG, and it looks pretty neat. It's definitely been making huge rounds on the internet as being a really interesting and compelling game. This is an early access title, so before I get into anything else, please know that this is early access. It's not done, but even so, a lot of people have been saying it comes as close as you can get to being done on as an early access title on Steam. You can certainly go and buy it. It's about $20 on Steam, US. I decided, after looking at a few videos and watching the intro a little bit from other players, you know, this is something I want to try. I'm going to give it a shot. It just looks neat. Give it a go, and I'm going to go ahead and take you guys along for the ride and see how that works out. See if this becomes interesting or something you guys want to see. First and foremost, I'll just go over some quick options. This is what I've done with most games that I get into. There is a little candle here that will take you into your options. And you can see I can return to the game, I can go to the desktop, I can watch the intro, cinematic, and of course go over controls. The interesting thing is that there are hardly any controls. This game is mostly driven by the mouse, so that's pretty cool. You've got contextual help with a button, and you can move left and right with A and D, so you move almost with WASD. It's just that you only have left and right, and then everything else is drag and drop in the town. Few and far between options. There's not even any graphical options here. There are some sound sliders which I've adjusted to hopefully make everything easy to hear, and of course you've got, this is an interesting, enable anonymous data collection. I don't know what it does, but you know, I'm more than willing to help. This is an early access title, so anything that you see here can possibly change. So this option menu, any gameplay that you see from me, all of this can potentially change when the game comes out, so just keep that in mind. I have no idea what the extra bark time in seconds is, to be quite honest, but there's your options. Alright, so from there, I'm going to go ahead and get us into the intro cinematic to get you guys into the mood, and then we'll go ahead and start our campaign.
Ruin has come to our family. You remember our venerable house? Opulent and imperial, gazing proudly from its stoic perch above the moor. I lived all my years in that ancient, rumor-shadowed manor, fattened by decadence and luxury. And yet I began to tire of conventional extravagance. Singular, unsettling tales suggested the mansion itself was a gateway to some fabulous and unnameable power. With relic and ritual, I bent every effort towards the excavation and recovery of those long-buried secrets, exhausting what remained of our family fortune on swarthy workmen and sturdy shovels. At last, in the salt-soaked crags beneath the lowest foundations, we unearthed that damnable portal of antediluvian evil. Our every step unsettled the ancient earth. But we were in a realm of death and madness. In the end, I alone fled laughing and wailing through those blackened arcades of antiquity, until consciousness failed me. You remember our venerable house, opulent and imperial. It is a festering abomination. I beg you, return home, claim your birthright, and deliver our family from the ravenous, clutching shadows of the darkest dungeon.
Darkest Dungeon is about making the most of a bad situation. Quests will fail or must be abandoned. Heroes will die. And when they die, they stay dead. Progress autosaves constantly, so actions are permanent. The game expects a lot out of you. How far will you push your adventurers? How much are you willing to risk in your quest to restore the Hamlet? What will you sacrifice to save the life of your favorite hero? Thankfully, there are always fresh souls arriving on the stagecoach, seeking both adventure and fame in the shadow of the darkest dungeon. Alright, and there you have it. Now, an interesting shot I notice is when you hear the gunshot, the house has a brief flash of where you can see the Cthulhu-esque tentacles coming out. So that's kind of neat. I didn't notice it like the first time through. I noticed the flash and I thought I saw something, and this time I was able to take a look at what it was. So alright, this is Darkest Dungeon. We're going to go ahead and start our campaign. So we click on the letter to begin. And we'll just go ahead and go off of the name. So the House of Wind and Shadow. Why the hell not? We'll just deal with it. It's terrible. I know.
You will arrive along the old road. It winds with a troubling, serpent-like suggestion through the corrupted countryside, leading only, I fear, to ever more tenebrous places. There is a sickness in the ancient pitted cobbles of the old road, and on its writhing path you will face viciousness, violence, and perhaps other damnably transcendent terrors. So steel yourself, and remember there can be no bravery without madness. The old road will take you to hell, but in that gaping abyss, we will find our redemption.
Alright, let us begin. Click or space. So welcome to the game. We're going to go ahead and start with the tutorials, of course, and I'll be doing a little exploration to kind of look at how this game all plays out. So first and foremost, we have the map navigation here in the lower right-hand corner. You're currently in a room, so it segregates things into rooms and you move back and forth. And what you might notice here is there's little squares in between the rooms which kind of represent points where events can happen. So you can actually get an idea of what's going on and where something, you know, there might be an encounter at one of these 4 squares in between. There might be several encounters, things like that. So you want to click to move where you need to go. So we're in this room here with a torch, and then we've got this other room here which we haven't explored yet. So that's how we move. I would basically click here to move. As of right now, we're just in this one room, and now you can see you can go A and D to move back and forth. Nothing will happen until I've picked a destination. So we're selected with this guy, we're the knight. If I click on the other guy, you can see it selects him, so you can kind of tell by this icon beneath him. We have hit points, 33 on him and 22 on him. Both have stress. That's the interesting thing about this game. It's a game based on not only dungeon exploration, but the stresses that are involved with exploring those dungeons, and those stresses will affect your party members differently. So at the top we've got our light, our torch. It is radiant light at 100%. The torch at this point is giving us bonus to scouting and to surprising monsters. So scouting gives my ability to tell what's going to happen. Like when I go to a room, I might be able to scout ahead and see what's going to come at me before I get there, which is kind of nice, but you're never guaranteed. So my current quest is the old road. I had to find my way to the Hamlet. I can click that to make it go away if I so desire. We have Reynold, the Crusader. Yes. Okay, we have multiple abilities, and what it looks like here we have these icons in the upper, I can't really mouse over it too, the upper left and the upper right are kind of the positions that you can perform this ability from, and the positions that you can perform the ability to. So this ability here, Smite, is a melee attack. It's got an 80 accuracy base. It's a monster type, unholy, plus 15% damage. So I can use this ability from the first 2 points in my line. You have a party of 4. Right now I've only got a party of 2, but you can have up to a party of 4. So he can use that ability when he's in the front 2 slots, and he can hit either the front 2 enemies. We've also got Zealous Accusation. It's a ranged-based ability, accuracy base of 80, a damage modifier on it. It does 40% less damage than normal, but what you might notice is there's a line between the first 2 enemies, which means it will hit 2 enemies at once. So this is the ability you want to use when you have 2 targets, rather than using Smite, unless you want to kill something right away. We have Stunning Blow, again, can only be used from the front 2. Can only hit the front 2. Accuracy base of 85. Damage mod is 67% reduction, but it has a 100% stun chance if you hit. That's, of course, minus resistances. Bulwark of Faith. Again, only the front 2. So he can only do, the only things he can do is the front 2 slots. If he's anywhere else, he's basically useless. This is a melee. It adds 5 to the torch, and it adds 20% to his protection. So this is an interesting ability, and we'll play with our whole torch mechanic here. And as the torch gets lower, we'll kind of see what changes it has. The idea is that the lower the torch is, the worse things are for you, but the better your rewards. So there's kind of a balance there of, do you want to play it risky and get possibly good rewards, or do you want to keep things safe with more light? This is an ability that will actually add to my torch without me having to use items, which is great. And you can also move here, switch positions, so I could tell him to switch with the other gentleman here. We can also see he's got 2 item slots, offensive and defensive items. So he's got a sword with a 6 to 12 damage base, 5% crit base. We can see that his crit chance is just 5% because he's got nothing modifying it. And he's got a hit point base of 33 because of his armor. And he's also got 2 item slots that he can have equipped, but we don't have anything at this time. Looking down here, you can see we've got, this is kind of your personality quirks, and this is kind of the neat thing about it. We can see he's a warrior of light, so if the light levels, this thing up here, is above 75%, he gets 10% damage. So it behooves me to have a high amount of light with Reynold in the party. The other thing is you have negative traits. He has kleptomaniac. He's prone to stealing crap. Yep, so I have to be careful when we find items. He may not give them to me. So I'm technically the person that's been called back, right? These are my bodyguards. So neither one of these characters is really the main character. They're here to protect him. We also have God-fearing. In town, he can only pray for stress relief. So that'll come when we get into town. The stress levels, as you can see here, you have to get rid of those in town. And so he can only do that with one of the places. There's multiple places you can go to get relief stress. He can only do it at one. Dismas, the highwayman. We can take a look at his abilities real quick. He is available to attack from the first 3 lines here. So he's interesting because he's actually got several places he can be. Here we have Open Vein. Available from the first 3 positions in a party, hits either the first 2. Accuracy base 85, damage mod minus 15%, but it adds a bleed to the target. 2 points for 3 rounds. Pistol shot can only be used in the back 3, so we can't use this in the front. Accuracy base of 80, damage mod minus 25%, but a 10% additional crit mod. So he's got a crit of 5% already. That means he has a 15% chance to crit with this. So yeah, it does less damage, 25%, but it has that chance to crit, so there's a possibility it might do more. Open Vein, as you can see, is pretty much the high-end ability that I have. It has 85% base, so it is very easy to hit with. It's a very minor damage reduction, and it's got a bleed. So this is kind of the big hitter. This, though, can possibly crit. So once I've hit with Open Vein, I can maybe try to crit with this. It really, we'll have to see. Maybe once he gets higher crit chance, that might be something I go for. We have Grape Shot Blast, which can only be used in the middle. Can't be used in the front, can't be used in the back. So thankfully, there's a lot of overlap here between these 3 abilities. But you'll notice here, this one hits the first 3 enemies in a line. That's fantastic. It's got a minus 50% damage mod, but with 2 or more enemies, it will definitely be the ability you'll want to go to. Although it does have a minus 7 crit mod, so this thing won't crit at all because I've only got 5% crit. Something to be aware of. And then we have a self buff here of Take Aim. it's +4 accuracy, +5% crit. So I could possibly make this crit, but that would bring me up to what? 10% crit, and this would be -7, so I'd only have a 3% chance. So is it worth it? Meh, I don't know. His accuracy bases are pretty good, actually, 75, 80, and 85. And of course you can move, and then this last here is a pass turn for when you're actually in combat. It's got a flintlock with a rusty blade, 5 to 11 damage, base speed of 4, hit point base of 22. What's the speed on this guy? Let's find out. Base speed is 0. So that means my highwayman should probably go first. He has a higher speed. Let's look at his quirks. He has a hard noggin. He's got a stun resist. That's great. Quick reflexes, +2 speed. So yeah, he'll definitely go first. But he's a known cheat. He's not allowed to gamble while in town. So that's one less place he can relieve his stress. I can go ahead and right-click on his portrait or right-click on him here. And we can see the extended details, which is pretty cool. We can see the hit points, the dodge, and all that. We can also see resistances here. And what it looks like is there's more abilities that he has that I haven't unlocked yet. So I could possibly change him up a bit, make him a little bit different. We also have camping skills. That's going to come into play later, I'm pretty sure. So we'll take a look at that a bit later, I think. Well, no, let's go ahead and look at it now. So when you camp, long dungeons, you have to be aware of that. And I apologize for not getting into gameplay right away, but I want to go over these. This is what I do. I like to explore a little bit before I move forward. So it looks like if we have to camp, he can heal a companion 20%. It's got a 15% chance to remove bleeding. He can clean his guns. Time cost 3, so we'll have to see what the time costs are. That was a time cost of 2. Self only gives him accuracy, damage, and crit. That's pretty cool. So if you camp, you get a buff. And bandit sense. Less likely to be surprised until next camp, more likely to surprise monsters until next camp. That's pretty cool. So that's a buff that lasts until you get to the next camping ground. That's really cool. I like that. That makes it pretty powerful. You can also see here he's got a preferred position, and as we've already seen his abilities, we know why. All of his abilities can be used from the middle too. He's got some abilities that can't be used in the back, some abilities that can't be used in the front. He also has a preferred target. Whether or not that affects his abilities, like I have no idea if I don't hit that target, or if I do hit that target, does he get a bonus to his attack or not? I really don't know on that one. That's something we'll have to explore. There's really not a lot the game tells you. The game kind of expects you to explore through trial and error. Well, let's see what Reynolds has real quick for camping. He's got Encourage. He can reduce stress by 10. He can increase his own his own stress resist. And he's got Zealous Speech. All companions can heal by 10% and reduce their stress. That's pretty powerful. So he can reduce stress 2 different ways. A total of 20, possibly. 10 for everybody, and then 10 for someone else. Not bad. Alright, so that's that. I think I've talked enough about it. Let's actually get into it, right? Oh, real quick, let me see what I have in my inventory. I have food. 2 pieces of food. These stave off hunger, and each party member generally consumes 1 unit per meal. Alright, well, let's get going. We're going to go to the first room.
Brigands have run up these lanes. Keep to the side path. The Hamlet is just ahead.
While in a hallway, press D to move forward, A to move back. If you prefer the mouse, you can click ahead the party to move them. Okay, so I can click ahead or behind. As you can see, that made him move back, made them move back into the other room. But you can click in front, or you can kind of click behind to move backwards. And what's interesting is when you move backwards, you kind of notice how it zooms in, like you're retreating. That's pretty neat. All right, so let's go forward. You can see the torch is moving. We're in the first part. Nothing. Oh.
Dispatch this thug in brutal fashion, that all may hear of your arrival.
Excellent. So we can see that this encounter happened in the second square, so that we can get an idea how that works. So combat is turn-based. On your hero's turn, I can click a skill icon, then click on the highlighted target. If I can't select a particular skill, it's because that hero needs to be standing in a different spot, or there's no valid target. So we've already talked about that a bit. So my assumption was right. We're starting with the highwayman. And it looks like I've got shortcut keys 1 through 5. So hopefully, with a future update, they'll allow you to break that down and change these buttons. Let me just see real quick. If I hit 1, yep. If I hit 1, 3, 4, 5, it does highlight that ability for me. So I can mouse over this guy. We can see he's a brigand cutthroat. He's got 15 hit points, 2 dodge, 3 speed. He's got 25% across the board to stun, blight, bleed, and debuffs. So we can see overall, I'll have an 83% chance to hit him, 5% chance to crit, and that's with the current ability. If I switch it over to the Grape Shot, we can see that it changes the... It doesn't change his resistances, but it does change at the bottom the chance to hit and all that. So if I go that, you can see it's a 10% less chance to hit from 83 to 73. It also will not crit, and the damage is lower. We can see why, because this is the AoE one. Now, pistol shot, you'll notice we can't use it because it can't target the first enemy party member. So there's only one guy, I can't use it. I could use it if there were two of them. I can't use it right now. So what that means is right now my best ability is going to be open veins. Now I could use take aim, but we're looking at what? Base damage of 4 to 9. He's got 15 hit points, so it's only going to take a couple rounds to kill him. So there's no point in buffing at this point, I would say. So we're going to go ahead and take our open vein, and he bleeds. All right, so you can see he's going to take 2 damage for 2 more rounds. Ooh, I think he resisted a bleed. Very nice. So I can give him a buff and give me a torch, but I don't want to do that. We can stunning blow him. What's his hit points at? 8 out of 15. He's going to take 2 damage. Still, he'll be down to 6. So that means that's got a damage reduction, so no. So we'll use Smite. That's his best ability. We can see it'll do 6 to 13. So there's a chance he'll kill him outright, but if he doesn't, the bleed will finish him. Oh!
The fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms. These nightmarish creatures can be felled. They can be beaten.
Oh, yes, they can. Excellent work, boys. Rifling through the corpse reveals 100 gold coins. Greases palms, builds empires, and instigates murder. Alright, so let's go ahead and take it. Excellently done. So what you notice there is there was kind of the shine over them, that was actually a heal as for their stress. You can see they're actually less stressed now than when they started. He's at 1 and he's at 5. So that combat actually worked out well. Now we are at 81% light. Let's go. Yes, Reynolds, let's go. While exploring, you will often find interactive objects. You click or press W to investigate them. So that's something that's not in the help menu or in the controls, which is kind of interesting. We go here, you can see that doesn't exist here. So that's going to be something that they'll want to improve upon as they update. So let's go ahead and return. I can go ahead and hit W. Okay, clearly where the ambushers camp. Now what I'm wondering is, let's ignore for now, I'm going to put on Dismas, because I believe the character you have highlighted is the one that will interact with things, and he's a kleptomaniac. I'm not going to let him look. So let's go ahead and check the tent. Okay, great.
Nothing unchecked. There is much to be found in forgotten places.
We have 100 gold, and we get onyx, black like endless night. It's a value of 500 gold. So this is nothing but, I believe, a moneymaker. But what you'll notice is it does take up an inventory slot. So rather than just flat out give me the gold, I have to get out of the dungeon with it to get that gold. Alright, let's move forward. Now what I'm noticing is that with every progression, see we're at slot 4 now, that's when the light starts to go down. If I stand still, it hasn't gone down. I mean, we've been sitting here, we've been talking for a long time, hasn't gone down. But now we're at the bottom tier. You can see it looks like there's different tiers here with these notches. So tier 1, 2, 3, 4 different tiers of light. We've gone down 1 tier. So what we're seeing is they're now going to take more stress because there's less light. And my scouting and monster surprise has gone down. It used to be ++, now it's just 1+. But I still have additional bonus to scouting and surprise. So there I had to hit W to go through the door.
An ambush. Send these vermin a message. The rightful owner has returned, and their kind is no longer welcome.
Alright, now here's something interesting. From what I've heard, is these icons mean a little bit more than just who's selected. If you look at this guy, the Brigand Bloodletter, you'll notice he's got a wider targeter here. This means, because if this looks like he's taking up 2 slots, right? Because if you look at one character is 3 of these notches, right, with the big one in the middle. So he's got 1 of them and 2. So he technically counts as 2 people. This guy is the 3rd. He's also pretty big and mean. He's 35 hit points. This guy's 12. So this guy's going to die pretty quickly. We should probably get rid of him first to reduce the amount of damage we take. If possible, maybe stun this guy. He's got a 50% stun reduction, though, compared to his buddy, the Fusilier. But we're on Dismas. We can use every ability now. Let's see. This is a 25% damage mod reduction. That's a 50% reduction. That will definitely not kill this guy. So the idea is, with Open Vein, you can see it hits the first 2 targets. Yeah, I can't target this guy. So this guy does count as 2 nodes on the battlefield. of his party, so I can't use this. I can use pistol shot to try and target the guy behind him, or I can use grape shot to hit both of them at the same time. This is only a 25% damage reduction. That means it'll do more damage, and since this guy has so much fewer hit points, that might not be a bad idea to do that. This guy is going to be lasting for a while, so maybe getting the accuracy and crit up might not be a bad idea. But I'm thinking I want this guy to die first anyway. So rather than buffing right now, maybe what I'll do is try and take this guy out right away, and then we'll try and stun this guy. Even though he's got a 50% reduction, it's worth a try. So let's go ahead and hit that guy. Blanket fire. Oh, AoE, 3 and 2. Not bad. Ooh, nice. That's a pretty damaging ability from what I've seen. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the stunning blow. It is a 100% base stun chance. He's got a 50% stun resist. So what I believe and how this works is he reduces my stun chance by that amount. Since it's a stun base, it's a 100% chance to stun. He's got a 50% reduction. That means it's a 50-50 chance that I should stun him. At least that's the way it looks to me. So we're going to go ahead and try it. Since it's a 50-50 chance, it's a good chance we can get him stunned and knocked out of combat. There he is. Alright, second round. Oh, looks like he gets to go first. A little bit of damage, but that's okay. Oh, interesting. Reynolds goes first this time. So what I can do... I can use if I use smite, I can only hit the bloodletter. I want to kill the guy in the back, so I should probably use zealous accusation. And then once he's gone, I think I'll start with the protections and things like that. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's get zealous accusation. Oh no, wait, that won't work because that only hits the first two. He's got nothing that hits the third person back, does he? So the question is, does this hit him twice because he counts as two people? We should take a look at that, because his damage is what, 2 to 4? If it does more than 4, we'll know for sure. Let's go ahead and use Zealous Accusation. I want to take a look. 7. Okay, so I believe that hit him with 2 sources of damage. Alright, what's he got left? He's got 5 hit points. Yeah, I don't think Grape Shot will kill him because he's a 4 to 8. Yeah, that won't do it. So let's go ahead and use Pistol Shot.
Press this advantage. Give them no quarter.
Excellent. He's got a little less stress. We're doing good now. There's not too much I can do at this point. Let's go ahead and buff. I could just have damaged him, but I wanted to get... Ooh.
Reeling. About to break.
A crit and a bleed. And you'll notice it also lower... They got stressed because of the big hit. Alright, so what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and stun him again. Oh, a dodge. Not good. Alright, so we use our best ability and our bleed. Ooh, he resisted the bleed. What's his bleed resist? 25%? The bleed chance on him, let me right click on him so I can see it. It doesn't have a chance on it, so I would guess that means it's a 100% chance unless otherwise indicated then. Alright, with this, let's go ahead and buff. Oh, good thing too. He dodged. Excellent. Alright, let's try and make him bleed again. Excellent. He's taking 2 damage now. Alright, he did 7 damage this time. Let's try and smite, see if it's any different. 6. I think I may have misread that, because his damage is 6 to 12, so yeah, he did 7. So he didn't get hit by 2 sources. So it looks like even though this can hit 2 targets, it only counts as 1 hit for bigger targets. So I believe I misspoke on that. So I'm thinking Open Vein is still going to be the better option here. This has a higher crit chance, but I think this is really more for hitting targets beyond the first one. So let's just go ahead and Open Vein again.
The bigger the beast, the greater the glory.
Fantastic, but we are hurting. He's got 4 hit points, and he's still got a bleed for 2 rounds. That's 2 more damage, so he's going to go down to 2 out of 22. Thankfully, we're at the end, so it's not a big deal. We get 2 onyx, 500 gold each, so it's 1,500 total there, 350 gold, and a portrait, an oil painting of some distant family relation, and that we'll be using for upgrading our town. So we're done here, but before we go, we do have a chest. This guy's got more hit points, so if there's a trap, I want him to do it. Alright, dragon item here to use it on the object. I've got no objects that I can use. Oh, he's blighted. Alright, so he's taking a damage a round for bleed and 2 damage a round for blight. So that's a total of 2 damage, total of 6, so a total of 8. Yeah, whew, damn, that'll really hurt him. So that's it. That is the introductory level, and it looks like these bleeds and stuff will last to the next combat. Or maybe it counts these smaller areas as a round as well. You know what? I want to test this because I can leave. I'm done. I can just click here to exit. I want to go back. I want to see if moving forward causes them to take damage. Yep. Okay. So each one of these squares technically counts as a round of combat. So the next square, he's going to lose his bleed. He's going to lose his bleed. Yep. And wow, he's really hurting. All right, let's just get out of here. Hopefully that blight goes away when we leave. Excellent, 2,050 gold, quest reward of 5,000, so we got 7,000 in total. 2 resolve experience, so they are now level 1. Fantastic. Looks like Reynolds got some kind of change. Quick reflexes, he gets +2 speed. Fantastic. No negatives, that's always good to see.
Welcome home, such as it is. This squalid hamlet, these corrupted lands, they are yours now, and you are bound to them.
Alright, so we can see our activity log. This was the first week. The ruins have been unlocked. Dismas and Reynold are now apprentice. Oh, I couldn't see what he said. So they successfully escorted me to the hamlet, and we've got our caretaker here taking care of the estate. Let me see. His goals are to defeat the apprentice necromancer, defeat the swine prince, wisening hag, necromancer. Wow. Swine king hag. Wait, is that twice? No, necromancer, swine prince, swine king. That's different. Wizen hag, necromancer lord, swine god. Sheesh. And then we've got some roster goals. So raise a leper to resolve 6, raise a crusader to 6, bounty hunter. So these are the different classes that we can get: a leper, crusader, bounty hunter, highwayman, jester, vestal, hellion, oculus, plague doctor, and a grave robber. So how many classes is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So just 10 classes. That's pretty cool. Party of 4. Alright, so on any screen I can press H, as we saw from the controls menu. Try it in town, exploring, fighting, camping, etc. So I can hit H and we can see everything what I can do. I can right click on a hero to inspect them, click on buildings to interact. So what we got is the stagecoach for recruiting heroes, the blacksmith for upgrading equipment, a guild for improving abilities, the survivalist to upgrade camping skills. We've got a tavern to send heroes for stress relief, an abbey for the same thing, the sanitarium to treat any negative quirks, nomad's wagon for rare items. So we'll go ahead and take a look at each of them in turn, and we'll end at this point for the part 1, and we'll move on to the first real dungeon for part 2. So hopefully you guys didn't mind going over a lot of these items. I really wanted to kind of talk about this game, how its mechanics work. Anyone that's been here knows how I do. Knows what I do. It's very analytical. I like to look into a lot of these things, and I'm looking forward to going through this a few times. So this guy doesn't want to go back in. I don't blame him. Alright, so let's go to the stagecoach.
Women and men, soldiers and outlaws, fools and corpses. All will find their way to us now that the road is clear.
So you need to recruit heroes to fill out the party of 4. Drag and drop to the roster. While I'm here, I can spend some of my starting resources on upgrading the Stagecoach network, which will increase the number of heroes available in the future. Alright, so here's the Stagecoach. We've got 2 people here. We've got, it looks like a Plague Doctor and a Vestal, so I can just drag them into my...
better laboratory than the blood-soaked battlefield.
Indeed. Alright, so I can click this little plus to upgrade this. We can see upgrading the Stagecoach increases available heroes for hire each week or increases the roster. So we've got Stagecoach Network, increases the number of recruits available for hire. It will take effect when I return from my next quest. This is something I probably want to do. Now what I've got is it looks like 10 busts, 11 portraits, one of those I found in my last quest, 10 deeds, and 20 crests. So these are the currencies you use for upgrading anything, and we can see that upgrading this takes, looks like deeds and crests. Now, I'm tempted to do this because part of this is, you can see the stresses that it took to get through that dungeon. And if I right-click on this guy, I want to take a look at his health. I think he gets healed by coming back to town, so... yeah, it looks like we're good. So he doesn't have to heal anymore, but he does have to de-stress. Not really, he's at 14, actually. We came out of that dungeon pretty good. He's got 14, he's only got 4. So Dismas really didn't get... stressed at all. And I can rename these guys. I think that's pretty cool. You can rename them to whatever you want. You can dismiss them. And that's a big thing of this, is you really don't have to keep these people, but if you can get them upgraded, they can be a valuable asset. But if anybody's got too many negative quirks or anything like that, you can feel free to get rid of them. So what I'm thinking of doing, because anybody can die at any time and their death is permanent, as the game has said, I may just want to go ahead and upgrade the coach first to make sure I'm always getting a steady stream of 4 heroes. So I can upgrade it at least once to get available heroes to 3. I might at least do that. I don't know about upgrading it twice to 4. What else can I do? I can get the hero barracks. This increases the size of a roster. I've got 9 roster slots right now. I can increase it to 11. I don't think I need to do that. I mean, 9's a pretty good number for the start. But I think maybe I will upgrade this once just in case, because if 3 people die, I want to be able to have at least 3 people in my party. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We can see the price goes up, so now it's 6 crests and 6 deeds, and that would take all of my deeds if I were to upgrade that. That's 10%, so there's a few more upgrades we can do. Alright, so that won't take place until the next time we come back. So what's next to it? We have the tavern. Can't do anything, can't use the tavern yet. We have to complete quest to unlock it. Sanitarium, same thing. Not another expedition, anything but that. Yeah, poor guy. Alright, so what's this? It is something I can click, but it doesn't do anything. Alright. Let's see. The Abbey is still locked. The Guild is still locked. The Blacksmith is locked. Everything is locked. This doesn't say it's locked. It doesn't even say it does anything at all, though. So the only thing we can use right now is the Stagecoach and the Graveyard, where we can view fallen heroes, thankfully.
Most will end up here, covered in the poisoned earth, awaiting merciful oblivion.
So, thankfully no one there. I love the narration in this, by the way. So let's see, what else do we have here? I can... clicking on those does nothing. What is this? Okay, so that's my activity logs. That's my inventory for trinkets, and that's the options menu. Alright, well, I think that's it for this one. We can say these guys are level 0 because they haven't gone anywhere yet. Let's just take a quick look at who they are, what they are. We see we've got Wizant, the Plague Doctor, Seeker Plague Doctor. He is a Slayer of the Eldritch. He gets a +10 accuracy and +3 critical strike chance against Eldritch beings. He's also a Slugger who gets 10% damage to melee. He is an Automantophobia. Huh. He has a stress resist reduction when dealing with human monsters, so he doesn't like to fight humans. It stresses him out. Okay. Weak grip on life. He's got a 10% death blow resist deficit. Ooh. Okay. But at least it's still 57%. So he's still got a 57%, but still 50% chance of getting killed by a death blow. That's not very good. So if anything, if there's anything I want to get rid of from this guy, it'd probably be that. Depends on how often death blow mechanics happen. 22 hit points, 5 dodge, no 2% crit, very minor. He does about 4 to 7. So what's he got? He's preferred position in the back too. Prefers to target the back. He's got Plague Grenade, 75 accuracy base, 75% damage reduction, but it targets the back 2 players and it does blight damage, so it's a bleed. Blight is like a bleed, but it's a stacking thing. So you can have a bleed, and then you can also have blight, and that doubles up the damage. So we can blight the last 2 enemies of the enemy group, which is great. We have blinding gas, which also hits the back 2, which you can see both of these will hit the back 2. It's a ranged 80% accuracy base. It has no damage. You can see the damage mod is minus 100%, but it's also 100% stun. So it's a lot like Reynolds stun, but it hits the back 2, which is great. Reynolds really does not want to go back in there. He's being very vocal about that. Alright, what else we have? We have Battlefield Medicine. Target, Cure, Blight, and Bleed. Cure, Blight, and Bleed. Okay. So we can see that it's got a target and a self. So it looks like this can be modified differently. Right now, it's a 100% chance to remove blights and bleeds from either himself or target. I have a feeling that this could change. So maybe not on him, but maybe on another character, I might have a reduced chance to remove blight on maybe, say, himself compared to an ally. So that's not great, but it's not bad either, because if I ever get blights or bleeds, I can get rid of it immediately. We have emboldening vapors as well, which will allow a target to do more damage. So he is very much a support class, so I kind of like this Plague Doctor guy. What's he got? So he's got the camping, he's got reduced stress by 10, we've seen that. 1 companion, 75% chance to heal for 50%, that's nice. And leeches. Heal 15%, remove target poison, and 15% chance to remove a disease. Pretty cool. Not bad. Only a 20% stun resist, so that's not very high, so we'll have to deal with that. It looks like being supporty is not very good at resisting things. And this is our Seeker Vestal. She is a precision striker, so has a plus 3% crit, but she's also a kleptomaniac. Great! She'll work well with Ranald, won't she? She also has paranormania. Obsessed with the paranormal. What does that mean? Oh, okay, so we've got a quirk that we really don't know what it does yet. So, you know, I mentioned Binding of Isaac at the beginning. You know, that game's got so many wiki articles right now, it's pretty much explored. But we think about when that game first came out and there were items, you had no idea what they did. That's kind of what this game is so new that there's probably not a lot out there just yet, and I'll probably have to look it up. But that's kind of cool that there is these little quirks. We don't know exactly what they're going to do to us. Her preferred position is the middle 2. Hold on, how does this, let me see. Middle 2, back 2, middle 2, front 2. Okay, so that makes this easy. She could be in the middle, he can be in the middle, he'll be the rear guard, he'll be the front guard. Right? That makes sense. Dismas will probably be in front because his abilities require... Well, it doesn't matter actually. None of his abilities are unusable in the middle 2. Okay. So what does she have? She have Mace Bash. Can only be used in the front 2. And so that means if I put her in the 3rd position, she can't use this. It's a 75 accuracy base, 100% damage, so it's just a basic attack. She has Divine Grace, heals 3 to 5, so that's why she's going to be in the back, honestly. I'll treat her more as a healer, but if she gets moved to the front, she can still attack. She has Divine Comfort, a party heal of 1 to 2, so you have the option of heal 1 target for more, or heal the entire party for a little bit. And then Illumination. It's ranged, 80 accuracy, minus 40% damage, 5% crit mod, so she'll have a total of, she has 2% crit, so 7%. Adds to the Torch, so we've got 2 characters with Torch. And it's a debuff to the enemy, which makes it so they can't dodge. With an 80% accuracy, that's not bad. So she'll mostly be healing and possibly if I ever need light. So I really, honestly, with these 2, I probably don't need a lot of torches for any future delves, but we'll see. We'll buy a few. Wound Care for camping. She can heal a companion 20% and has a 15% chance to remove a bleed. A Chant. If religious, it heals okay, so if one companion is religious, they'll heal for 15. If they're not, it only heals for 5. If they're religious, they'll also reduce stress. So basically, cool, it's a reduction of heal and stress. Works better if the person is a religious person. You have Pray. Again, religion comes into effect here. If religious, it reduces more stress than if not. But it is a stress reducer for all companions regardless. So that's pretty cool. I don't know how that plays. Like, do they have to have religion here on the quirks? That's a possibility. Like, see, she's even not religious according to this. So those won't be too great for this party anyway. So we've delved into the deep horrors of the dungeon. Not really. We've just done the introduction, the tutorial starter zone to tell us how everything is. Not very far at all. But hopefully it hasn't been too bad. Again, I know not a lot of gameplay this time. There was a lot of exposition to go about. And Reynolds will just not stop saying he doesn't want to go in. He's going in. I'm forcing it. I'm going to tie him down onto the cart as it goes into the dungeon. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching this one. I'm going to go ahead and go right into the next one, and I'll see you there.